Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to our channel and thanks for logging on. If you enjoy these videos, please do me a favor and subscribe to our YouTube channel right here at Watchbox Reviews. I would really appreciate it and I promise to update daily. If you like this watch, you can see it and purchase it on our website, thewatchbox.com. By the end of this video, I'm pretty sure you will want this watch because after examining it, I want it. This is about as much functionality and features as you can pack into a sub $3,000 pre-owned watch. Let's get started. Today, we are discussing the Ball Engineer 2 Magneto S. Outwardly similar to other 42mm stainless steel watches, it's not terribly slim at 14.4mm, though it does have a little bit of a sloped case flank. Across the wrist, it has an impressive stance, but not excessive at 49.3. You can wear this watch on a wrist as small as 14 centimeters circumference, and it has a modern lug spacing of 21mm. The strap is an interesting piece. It's made of Cordura, which is fundamentally vinyl, but also has some natural fibers mixed in. It's a textile with a clear stitch pattern, thick cut, and as you can see, sheer sides and a monotone stitch. There's a rubber inlay on the underside, much like the sailcloth straps of Blancpain, so it's very supple and soft. It doesn't chafe the skin. The pin buckle is, well, I would call it steampunk, as the Ball brand has its roots in the steam engine era and railroad chronometers, and this is certainly of that aesthetic tradition. Also, I appreciate the customization of such a basic part. Attention to detail is a strong suit with this one. The case is simple but strong. You have a few hard lines. As you can see, the case band is sheer, all of high polish. The lug hoods themselves are of a satin finish to mute the impact and break up the metal, and there's a sharp crease that runs the full span of the case, with the lugs being somewhat squared off at their ends. Polish between the lugs and a coined bezel that gives the watch a strong, if somewhat antiquarian appearance. I can't quite place it, but I associate it with the bezels of Chrono Swiss and the case bands of Breguet. Now, the dial of the watch is incredibly deep, as it has the Rehaut to end all Rehaut, almost like a life preserver. It is both tall and dramatically rounded. There's a slight British racing green accent that splits the outside with its 60-second or 60-minute calibration from the inner and more steeply sloped portion. You can see the break between the two of them. You'll also note that the dial features all applique indices, and here's the cool part. There will be a lume shot, but those are self-activating H3 trasors, hence the nomenclature on the case back. You can see where it says MB Microtech. Microtech makes these trasors. They are glass vials that contain self-activating radioactive tritium and a luminescent material. So you could put this in your dive locker for 4 years, pull it out, and it'll still glow, almost the same as when you put it away. A Baroque counterweighted seconds hand with its own trasor built right in, large hour and minute hands with black and triangular indices, and you can see a lovely green text at center, chronometer 100 meters, and it is both of those things. Resistant to 100 meters, it has a screw-down crown, and it is a COSC certified Swiss chronometer. It also has the functions you would expect of a watch with what is fundamentally a Sellita SW200 caliber, though there are some changes, and we'll discuss them. The watch has a quick set for the date and hacking seconds, automatic winding with 26 joules and a 28.8 beat rate. It has a 38-hour power reserve and bidirectional winding. COSC certified, so quite precise. This is the part where you start to think, oh my god, I need this in my life. First, we're going to talk about SpringLock. This watch does advertise its virtues quite effectively. Water resistance, SpringLock, and A-proof. Let's talk about SpringLock. What SpringLock isn't. It's not shock resistance to prevent your watch from stopping. That's what Incabloc does. It protects the balance staff, and in some instances, it protects the staff of the escape wheel. So Incabloc prevents your watch from stopping from damage. SpringLock prevents your watch from losing or gaining time due to displacement of the hairspring around the balance. So this isn't a factor that causes damage to a watch, but during concussive activities, Ball likes to cite drumming, tennis, and golf. Your watch can lose or gain a tremendous amount of time. Depending on the sustained length of the assault on your watch, it could be minutes a day. So you need something to prevent the hairspring from becoming excessively displaced or even hooking on the regulator, and that's what SpringLock does. It houses the hairspring in a circular cage with a top, a bottom, and a side, so no matter how hard you shock it, it can't move far. Thus, Ball endorses the use of this watch while playing golf or tennis. A-proof, what's that? It's anti-magnetism. It is a paramagnetic alloy like the ring around Vacheron Constantin overseas, so you can have an open case back. You don't need a Faraday cage or the soft iron cage, strictly not a Faraday cage, but you don't need a soft iron cage around the entire movement to be antimagnetic, because this robustly paramagnetic alloy attracts magnetism, but by attracting it to this diaphragm or iris around the movement, it channels it around the hairspring, which is the vulnerable component of the watch. And remember that bezel looked a bit too, I don't know, functional, industrial. Something about it just doesn't seem decorative. And the reason for that is, and here's where you're going to want the watch, you can actually open the diaphragm or iris and reveal the entire movement. Depending on how much antimagnetism you need, you can actually operate this iris Stargate style around the caliber. Take that, MB&F HM6 Space Pirate. This watch is the real deal. Shockproof, water resistant, anti-magnetic, and perhaps the most entertaining three-hand date watch you will ever encounter. See it and own it on the watch box. And I'm back with the Ball Engineer 2 Magneto S Superluminova for the chapter ring, Arabic numerals and indices, and then the center dial with all tritium tracers. The tracers for the hands and the index at 12 are orange, and it does take a few minutes in the dark to get the full benefit of the tritium, but once your eyes have adjusted, it's quite distinct, and it'll glow forever independent of light charging. See it and make it yours on the watch box.